I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the New Forest. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the town of Lymington, which in fact is just on the edge of the New Forest. It's a port town on the west side of the Lymington River on the Solent. And today we're going to be doing a roughly 4.5 mile circular route heading north out of the town. We're going to have a look at the Buckland Rings ancient Hillfort, and then carry on north and across the Lymington River, and then come back through a lovely nature reserve, and we're going to finish up on the quay at Lymington for some ice cream. So do join us. Well, before we start the walk and head out of Lymington, we'll have a quick look at a couple of things. Firstly, look at the church, which is just behind me here. I'll point up so you can see what I'm seeing, and that it's the St Thomas's Church. It's near the top of the high street, and there's been a church on the site for over 800 years. This one's got 13th century origins, with the chapel built around 1325-ish. Originally built as a chapel of the Priory of Christchurch. The church was thoroughly rebuilt in the 18th and 19th century, but it's got a magnificent tower which you can see from all around Lymington. It was built in 1670 with this distinctive cupola, and there's 8 bells. I think 5 date from 1785 and 3 from 1901, but unfortunately we haven't quite got enough time to have a look inside the church. Well, I parked my car in one of the central car parks in Lymington itself, heading out now towards the countryside, but as I do, just passing the Lymington Bowling Club. Let's have a quick look through. This is, I always think this is something, there's something quintessential about the having a bowls club on a coastal town in southern England. And this club here was formed in 1921, and that lovely luscious green was laid in 2003. I wonder if they mind a Whippet having some zoomies on there. Probably not. Well, we're right on the edge of the town of Lymington now, and I just want to show you this pub called the Monkey House. It's an 18th century pub, originally known as the Crown, and then became the Monkey House as the landlord kept monkeys at the time. It was also known as the Toll House, as there was indeed a turnpike toll house here in the garden, which I think is still here. Well, we've now finally made our way out of the metropolis that is Lymington. As I said, it's just on the edge of the New Forest, and I think technically the town is outside. But we've now made our way to the Buckland Rings Hillfort, which is just behind me here. I'll turn around. In fact, just looking down here, they've got this terrific 3D model. I won't touch it with the COVID situation, but we are at the moment standing about there, and we're going to head up through there, across there, and around our way, something like that anyway. But I say the fort was here in about 800 BC and was up in use until 43 AD, and the whole area around here was bought by the county council in 1989 to ensure preservation. But, well, before we do any more exploring, we've got this lovely open area. I think it's time for some Whippet zoomies. Well, we're just about to go make our first ascent of the fort, and a helpful little display here. So we are standing there. So we're going to head up onto the first of the inner ramparts, and then you can see there's a large inner ditch, a middle rampart, and then an outer ditch. And this whole fort it's called a multi-volate, I think it's how you say it, Hillfort. Basically one with more than one set of ditches and ramparts. Although it's called a hill fort, it's only 27 metres above sea level. It's on a sort of gravel spur, and it's about 7 acres in total, so fairly large. We're now crossing, there's a central part of the fort, the open area, and this is where the big encampment would have been. It would have been permanently occupied, and the trees in the far distance, that marks out the other side where the other ramparts were, but now these days just used for agriculture, with some cows in the field there. So we're going to make our way over to the other side, when we should get a really good view of the sort of ditch and rampart system that they had. We made our way over to the northern side of the hill fort, and we're going to start exploring the various ditches and ramparts. It is, although it's end of July and it's a sunny day, it is a bit dark in here because of all the trees, so hopefully you'll be able to see everything. So basically I'm walking down the inner ditch, and so on my right hand side, that's the inner rampart. It's about 10 metres from the top to the bottom of the ditch. It's about 2.5 metres on the other side to the inner part, and then on the left hand side, that's the middle rampart, again about 2.5 metres high off the ditch. The ditch, I guess, is about 10 metres wide. So let's carry on. And here we are on top of the middle rampart, and then down on the left here you can see the outer ditch and the outer rampart. So as far as hill forts go, it's I keep saying it is very impressive, but anyway, the whole thing was abandoned just before the Romans arrived. Just about to leave the hill fort, which is just behind me here, and just on the side of it there's an old gravel pit. I'll turn around and show you that is now used as a dirt track bike or BMX track course. That looks fun, doesn't it? Now if I were 40 years younger, I'd give you a demonstration, but we'll carry on with the walk, I think. We've been walking along a little country road called Boldre Road, heading north out of Lymington. I'm now going to turn east. I'm going to make our way to the Lymington River. just coming down this really spooky lane. It's gone a bit dark in here, although it's a glorious sunny day. It's covered in holly in here, and there are steep banks either side, as you can see. I imagine this must have been an old smuggling route, because it's actually a dead end now, but it eventually makes its way out to the river and a ford. So I imagine it's got a few stories to tell, this little lane. Well, I think I've come to the wow moment of the walk. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? That's the Lymington River. In this little area, look, there's a bench over there. It's called the Shallows. Basically there was an old ford here. It was the best place to cross the river here. And this little area is now owned by the parish council. Oh, what a delightful spot. And there's a freshness to the day. All the sun's out now, end of July. There was a lot of rain last night, which is just, as I say, freshened. And then I don't know if you can see right in the distance there, some New Forest ponies grazing in the background. And it's just crossed a lovely little bridge. I say the Lymington River is about 14 miles long. It rises just north of the Ocknell enclosure, where it's known as the Highland Water, for the first 6 miles before it joins the Oberwater at the Boldre Bridge just north of Brockenhurst, and then it's known as the Lymington River from then on, and then it flows out to the sea from here. But it's lovely sort of meeting the river here, because I reckon I've probably done 4 or 5 walks where I've come across various aspects of the river. In fact, I've been right close up to the source, so I've almost got to know it really quite well. And so it's lovely seeing it at its end point, as it were. We're now heading south. Basically, we're on the eastern side of the Lymington River, going through what is effectively a nature reserve. In fact, just by me here, you can probably see the reed beds, and behind there is the actual river itself. Very popular with seabirds and warblers, sort of sedge warblers and reed warblers, and I believe there are a few otters. So Logan and I are going to keep our eyes peeled for those. Oh, look, Logan, look what I spy. What, you gonna have one? Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it? And another one. Another pit stop. They're not very big, these ones. Look, what about that one? Hey, what about that one? Yeah. Those little ducklings. What a stunning place. Now, if we weren't going to have our ice creams on the quay, I think this is where we'd have our picnic. Isn't that quite exquisite? And there's, as I say, the reed beds on the back there. All very calm and peaceful. Oh, Logan's spotted a bee on the ground. He's got a thing about bees. But, what a heavenly spot. Well, I've just crossed the Lymington River again, heading back into the town, and just crossed the causeway, which is here, which was built in 1731. And there were tolls here as recently as the mid-1950s. But if I turn round, we get some terrific views of the head of the river here. Magnificent, stunning reed beds over on the left, and I can just about make out a heron right in the very far distance. Well, and here we have one of those special gold post boxes, and this one is to commemorate Ben Ainslie winning his gold medal at the London 2012 Olympic Games in sailing, of course. I think that's the first one of these that I've seen. Just coming off the main high street in Lymington, down these lovely old cobbles, which is going to take us to the quayside. And you can just imagine in days of old, the old smugglers coming up through these routes. But isn't this quite delightful? Each with these little individual shops with their little bay windows. A good place where we'll get our ice cream shortly. But, it is quite pretty. We're now on the old Lymington quayside. It's still used for commercial fishing. I say most of it now are private boats, and of course there are quite a few boats in the two big marinas a little bit further south from here. Somebody heading out to sea. I don't know if you can make out in the very far distance, you can see the couple of the Isle of Wight ferries parked up ready for their next trip across. I think it's about a 35-minute journey across the Isle of Wight from here. But obviously a calm sea today. It is quite you do get an oldie worldy feel about part of the quayside here, that's for sure. Well, seeing as we're in Lymington, I thought we'd have to make our way to look at the Lymington seawater baths, which are behind me here. And these, well, this is the largest open air Lido or Lido, I'm never 100% sure how you're supposed to say it, in the UK. And it's been here since 1833. It looks like fun, doesn't it? Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up or like, and do make a comment. And if you haven't already done so, thank you, please do subscribe, and that way hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. We've had a super walk today, lots of variety, and we're now going to enjoy our ice creams by the quayside. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio. Right. Strawberry or mint? Looks like it's strawberry for him.